Hey everyone, welcome back to the channel. This is Jody with C.O.D. Outdoors. Good to have you with us today. We are out on the mini bike today. We're just going to do a little review on it and take you along with the evolution of where it started and where it is now, and some of the things I like and don't like about it. So, hope you enjoy the video. This bike started out as a Coleman 200 BTX. So, I've done a lot of modifications to the bike, as you can see. I've changed it and made it my own. Went with the military theme, which is what I like. I love olive drab and anything to do with the old school military platforms, or mostly World War II. But this is the bike, and I'll show you some more up close things and things I've done to it. And then we'll give you a little ride demonstration with it. The first thing you'll probably notice is when you buy a mini bike, they're usually, unless you get one of the upper scale ones that cost a little more, they usually all have a solid frame. Well, this one started out that way, but I have adapted it and turned it into a full suspension, rear and front. It came with the shocks on the front, and I've turned it into a suspension on the back. As you can see, I made a swing arm here with the existing pieces, and I had to add some of the frame. And then underneath here is a shock spring. Hope you guys can see that. There's a shock spring right there. It goes up, that I stole from a bicycle, which is plenty stiff enough for my weight and my size. It works really good for me. I had to move a lot of these brackets here and adapt the brake cable. I did, another thing I done is when you get these mini bikes, the foot pegs are up here in front of the motor. Well, you can't stand up on foot pegs like that, so, and me being a dirt bike rider for most of my life, I like to stand up sometimes, so I moved the foot pegs back to about the center of the bike as best I could, and I adapted some pegs with some pads on them that I'd found. Took the old brackets and made these to fit. Got these off of an old four-wheeler that somebody had thrown out, the foot pegs. Carburetor, all I've done so far on it is drilled some holes. I've got some holes drilled back here with a mud flap to cover that. Just, you can see the mud flies up from the wheel. I done that to keep water and dirt out of the holes there. That's just for a little bit more extra air coming in, because I have deleted the governor, which is one of the first modifications you should do. I also added 18-pound valve springs and adjusted them to the proper setting. Here's what it looks like from the back underneath. Took the stock fender off, which was really short, and made this out of some aluminum that I had, aluminum sheeting, and I turned this into a full under fender so I would have some protection from mud flying up on the engine. And you can see the exhaust coming out of there. I just used that aluminum and made a fender for it, and then I got a piece of inner tubing down here to protect that part of the engine. Making the suspension fully independent was really a challenge when it came to the chain and making it fit right, because I had to do a lot of modification to the frame here. On the swing arm, I had to put this piece to raise it up so I'd have room for the chain to pass. At first, I did not have this spring tension, this chain tensioner on here, and I was having a lot of trouble with my chain jumping off the cog. But as soon as I put this on, that trouble went away completely. Don't have that problem anymore, and that was just like a $10 piece from Amazon. This wasn't much. This is the bolt going through that holds the swing arm on the back. And as far as the exhaust goes, it's just something that I fabricated. I used this part from the old muffler and just came off of here and welded some pipe on. And then I got it back here, and I got some washers inside, a couple washers inside, just to dampen the sound some. The seat I reupholstered with some faux leather. I like the brown look with the green. I think it stands out really well, and it looks really good. And I added these handguards from Amazon. They weren't very much, about $10 I think. The headlight, which is stock headlight, I just added these lines and painted the rim. This piece is another piece of that sheet aluminum that I put on the front just to cover all that up, because all that was exposed, and it looks better with this cover on it. And the front fender, I just shortened this a little tiny bit, was all. This one was another challenge, was the handlebars, because when I put the suspension on and raised it up, the handlebars were too short. So I had to add a good bit of an extension here, as you guys can see, probably 4 or 5 inches. And I just came up and welded some pieces in. It's really secure. I've had no problems with that. Also added this crossbar here just to give that more of that motorcycle look. And working with the headlight, I added this LED tail light here, which is plenty bright enough. I integrated it into the frame and ran the wires up to the front. Also, this bike didn't come with a gas tank. It's just got the motor gas tank. This is a faux gas tank that I built out of some sheet metal that I had. And I added also, this is something that don't come with, is a key switch. I added that myself, because all the bike had was a kill button up here, and I've turned this into my light switch. I'll start the bike up and show you guys, but this bike cannot be started now unless you have these keys, which I thought was a good thing, because when I go camping and stuff, I didn't want anybody to steal the bike, when before all you had to do was turn the kill switch on or off and pull start it and you could go. Now you gotta have that key. Without that key you can't do anything. I also added this little toolbox. It's just a waterproof box. It actually came with a fishing set, and I've got all my wrenches and stuff in there. I do want to in the future add an actual gas tank to this bike, a motorcycle tank, if I can find one or make one, just to add more capacity for gas. Also, that one, when you fill it to capacity, it wants to leak out around the lid for some reason. I think it's made that way for air, so it doesn't build up pressure. But if you put too much gas, if you fill the tank all the way up, it wants to slosh out when you're riding. Even when you haul it, it wants to slosh out. Anyway, guys, I hope you like the bike. I like it pretty good. It does what I want it to. Just trail riding. I'm not interested in going fast, but I like trail riding, and that's what I got the bike for. So I'll show you some. I'm gonna start it up, and I'll show you some ride footage here in just a minute. Alright everybody, there's the bike running. I just wanted to show you this LED light that we added to the back. Also the working headlight. And I've got the switch here. If I just flip this switch, they go off. Before the bike, the light just ran all the time, because it runs off a stator inside of the engine, which is constantly making energy. But all I done was broke the circuit and used the old kill switch as my light switch, which works good for that. That's what the bike sounds like. It don't sound too bad. Right here, everybody's how you adapt. I forgot the rig for my phone at the house, Use a little bit of paracord to tie the phone on. Yeah, that's what you gotta do sometimes to make these videos. Alright, let's talk about some of the things we do and don't like about this bike. One thing we do like is the simplicity of it. You just got fire with a spark plug, fuel, and air mixture. That's all it takes to run this thing. There's no computer components at all on it. It's very simple to work on. It's light, easy to move around. because of course it doesn't have a reverse, and you get in some spots where you might have to move the bike. I think it weighs maybe 175 pounds, maybe 180, something like that. It's very easy to move around, easy to load, unload from my truck. And it's compact, small, and it holds, the manufacturer book says 200-pound max capacity, but you can do more than that. I weigh about 186, and with my backpack I'm probably pushing that 200-pound mark, so it does fine with me on it and my gear, so I don't have any troubles with it. Some of the things I don't like about the bike right now that I plan on changing in the future is it's ran by a clutch. It's clutch driven from a jack shaft, and I plan on upgrading to a torque converter, which is more like snowmobiles have and some of the side-by-sides, which gives you more low-end torque, and it's also better for stop and go, for trail riding, because I find that I have to pause a lot on the trail. Sometimes there may be an obstacle in the way or a limb or whatever, and these clutches just don't like that. They get pretty hot, and if you get them too hot, they'll start to slip, and sometimes they can even seize up on you. That's one of the things I don't like. Also, the seat is not very comfortable. I've got some more padding that I'm going to work on this. I'm going to also fix my seat to where it's got a latch on it, where I can just pop it up instead of having bolts in the sides. Just like a four-wheeler or an ATV, it's got a latch. I'm just going to be able to pop it up, and I'm planning on putting my tools under the seat, being that I have enough room. And I'm also going to work on a gas tank, getting me a gas tank somehow, some way. But as far as that, the handling is not great at higher speeds because of these fat tires and the shortness of the bike. It's not very long at all, so you got to be careful and going around curves and doing things like that. But overall, I don't have anything bad other than those things that I can fix to say about the bike. In stock condition, it was okay, but it was rigid, and all the suspension you had on the rear was the tire. You know, the amount of pressure you put in the tire. The front obviously has the forks, the shocks on the front. But overall, if you're going to buy one of these guys, expect a lot of vibration, and you got to get used to that if you're going to ride these, because they have a lot of vibration in them, because the motor is direct mount to the frame. You got vibration in the handlebars and in the seat. You got to get used to that. That's why I wear gloves. I wear padded gloves. I'm going to plan on changing my grips to some foam grips in the future to eliminate some of that. And like I said, I'm going to work on this seat as well. But easy to work on, easy to load, unload, easy to move around in the woods with. And it's not a motorcycle. Let's just go ahead and say that. It's not a motorcycle. I've ridden a lot of dirt bikes in my life. Having the ability to shift down a gear, up a gear is amazing when you're out in the trails. You can't do that on this. Don't expect to be able to climb straight up and down inclines and do that kind of stuff. These are not made for that. But as far as trail riding, you know, small hills, things like that, creek crossings and things like that, it's no problem for this bike to handle. It's easy. You can go up grades as long as it's a road and it's kind of a steady grade, but you don't want to hit anything that's vertical, steep. I used to climb a lot of crazy stuff when I was younger. You can't, these bikes are not made for that. As far as trail riding, works out great. Works out great. Guys, I hope you liked this video. Hope it was informative enough for you. If you have anything else you'd like me to go over or add, I'm going to put some of the pictures, starting with the beginning of this bike, leading up to where I've got it now, because I've done all the work myself. All the fabrication I've done at home. Most of it was of stuff that I'd found. I love to recycle things and reuse things. Most of this has been done with pieces that I've found, tubing, like this sheet aluminum. It's amazing the things people throw out. But, you know, one man's junk is another man's treasure. Hope you enjoyed the video, guys. Thanks for clicking on it. And I hope you have a blessed day. In Jesus' name.